Okay, what you're seeing here is the formula for the compound interest, right? It is A equals to P bracket 1 plus I over N to the power of NT. So let us define what are what these alphabets represent. A is the amount that you are supposed to get in the future, or the amount that you will get in the future. P is the principal, the amount that you intend to invest. I is the interest rate, it is in decimal point. N is the number of times it is compounded, and T is the period, it is usually in years. Okay, this formula, you have to apply this formula if you want to get any benefit out of this. This is not an auto suggestion. You can't um, repeat this formula to yourself and then hoping that you'll be a millionaire in a few months time or a few years time. Even if you were to repeat this formula 1,000 times, 10,000 times to yourself every day without investing a single cent to any of the financial instrument, is not going to be a benefit. So let us see what this formula can do for us. All right. Okay. Just say that you are investing 1,000 ringgit as your principal amount, okay, to an instrument that gives you about 10% a year. All right, that means your I is 0.1. It is in decimal points. 10% means 10 out of 100. If you do that, if you put that in the calculator, it'll give you 0.1. And n is the number of time it is compounded. Usually it's one. It is one per year. And t, let us, for the sake of this example, use t equals to 1. All right. So if you were to invest 1,000 ringgit to a financial instrument that gives you 10% for a year and is compounded once per year, it will give you 1,100 after 1 year. All right. You can put in your calculator, and this is what you'll get, or you can do it in your Excel sheet. Now let us go. Okay. After 2 years, it is 1,210. It is not 1,200, right? It is 1,210. This is the magic of the compound interest. It is interest upon interest. All right. If it's 1,200, it is called simple interest, right? So compounded interest will give you an extra 10 ringgit, right? Compared to this simple interest. So after 10 years, it will give you 2,593 ringgit and 74 cents. This is assuming that you only invest 1,000 ringgit and you do not invest anything after that. Okay, so if you were to invest 1,000 ringgit and to a financial instrument that gives you 10% a year, so after 10 years, it will give you 2,593 ringgit and 74 cents. Okay, that is 10%. So if you go back to this formula, right? Let us go back to the formula. All right. Right. A equals to P 1 plus 1 over N plus NT. So if you want to receive more after 10 years, you either increase your principal amount from 1,000 to whatever amount that you think you want to invest, or you look for a financial instrument that gives you more than 10%, right? Of course, you're looking at 10 years. Or if you do not have, if you're not limited by time, then of course, right, 100 years, 200 years, 300 years, if you're blessed to live such a long age, then you'll see a different amount. Okay, so this is assuming that one-time investment of 1,000 ringgit. So that's what you get. So right, you can increase the value of A. To increase the value of A, that is the amount that you receive in the future, is you can either increase P, the principal, you can increase I, the interest, right? Invest in entities that gives higher returns, or T, increase the investment duration. What else you can do is, you can start with a high initial investment, or you can keep adding a certain sum to the initial investment every year, or ideally you can do both. So another way that you can increase the amount that you receive in the future, assuming it is 10%, right? Just a word of caution here. If anybody comes to you and say that they can give you 50%, 60% year after year, run away, right? It's not going to happen, right? You might get 20, 24% 1 year, right? I mean, if it's a good mutual fund or a unit trust, it might able to give you, high returns 1 year, 2 years. Then it will go a bit lower. So in average, you can look at 10 to 12% or 14%, right? If anything higher, the risk is higher. And if people comes and there's people coming and telling you that you can get 30%, 40%, 50% year after year, if you were to fall for it, you're going to be hurt. Okay, so let us see. You can increase A either by having a high P, or you can keep on adding P year after year. Just say you start with 1,000 and you keep adding 1,000 every year, right? All right, so you say you invest an additional 1,000 from second year, and at the beginning of every year you do this for every year, right? So your principal in the second year now stands at 2,100 ringgit. That is first year principal plus first year interest rate plus additional investment. Okay, so your amount at the end of the second year, assuming the interest rate remains the same, which is 10%, is 2,310 ringgit. All right, let us. So after 10 years, it is RM 17,531. This means that if you were to invest 1,000 ringgit as your principal and keep adding 1,000 every year at the beginning of the year to a financial instrument that gives you 10%, after 10 years you will have RM 17,531 in your account, right? So this is compound interest. If you want to take advantage from this formula, right? If you are young, if you just started working, you can start with a small amount. So just say you have 20-30 years of a working life, you have a substantial amount. Or if you start a bit late, like me, right? You have to increase your principal amount to get a substantial amount at the end of the period that you have set. Right? If you are 40 years old, just say you intend to work until you're 65, and you wish to retire after that, your principal amount has to be it has to be a large amount, so that you have a substantial amount for your retirement years.